Hey everyone, thanks for checking out the Ham and Spam Retro Review, the podcast where we like to review retro games, movies, TV shows, and everything in between.
Check us out on all the social medias, including Twitter, where you can find us at Ham and Spam Games, Instagram, which is also at Ham and Spam Games, Facebook at Ham and Spam, and even YouTube. Just search Ham and Spam Retro Review.
For more content, check out our friends Nick, Brandon, and also Clint on their podcast, Talk or Go Home.
Thanks for listening, and we hope you enjoy. Hey everybody, and welcome to the Ham and Spam Retro Review, where we review retro and nostalgic stuff.
Until now.
But this is our season finale.
Mm-hmm.
I hope that we don't have to write anything on our hands that says "Not Penny's Boat" because that would be heartbreaking. But yeah, season 3. This is the end of season 3 for us. We're gonna go a little hiatus. Get some stuff straight and come back in August. So looking forward to a little bit of a break. Some things that's going on. We learned that Jesse from Finish the Fight is stepping away from the podcast for a little while. Maybe forever. We don't know yet, but he just needed a little bit of a break from things. So we wish him the best of luck going forward, and hopefully Finish the Fight will continue on.
As always, check them out.
Yeah, absolutely. Those guys have been really good to us since we, became podcasters ourselves. And
they're definitely the definitive podcast for Halo.
Absolutely. The whole Halo universe, not just the games. They do the books, the comics, any kind of video stuff that's been going out. All the games, not mobile games as well.
What if they'd ever go into Marathon, which was Bungie's IP before they did Halo?
I don't know, but they did go into Destiny a little bit, and then of course they've branched out to other games as well.
Mm-hmm.
So the depth that they go into with the Halo games that we've all kind of known that they've gone into that same kind of depth with these other games as well. So very thorough, very in depth,
much deeper than we go.
Absolutely. We like video games. We play video games. We talk about video games. Those guys go so deep. It's in a whole different level.
They're in like an advanced submarine looking for the Titanic. And we're
in a John boat with a...
Oh, no, we're in the kiddie pool kicking our feet around.
Saying, wouldn't it be cool?
Mosquitoes.
Also known as the official bird of Alabama.
Yes. That's good.
I figure you'd like that. So for our season finale, Hammy and I wanted to do something kind of retro, kind of new, kind of still,
It's retro in the fact that we've always liked Godzilla.
Yeah, well,
that's about as retro as it is.
I was trying to set up the spoiler alert. We are going to talk about the new Godzilla versus Kong movie. It's been out for a couple of weeks now.
Yep.
We really enjoyed it. We said, hey, wouldn't it be cool to kind of talk about this? And so that's what we're going to do. We're going to review, not a watch along, a review of Godzilla versus Kong.
And if you have not seen it, then you might want to turn the podcast off now, unless you're unfazed by spoilers, because there will be spoiler talk.
Well, unless you're Hammy, because Hammy knew about this, the whole entire plot line of this movie before he ever watched it. And that's
I watched it before Americans watched it.
Illegal or safely, one or the other, but you watched it.
Well, whether or not it was illegal, I got to it before YouTube struck it down.
Oh, wow. Okay. So that's a thing. So the nostalgic factor for me anyway is the old school 1963 awful acted, awful animated, awful. Would you call it animation?
No, it was not animated.
Awful puppeteering.
It's a guy dressed in a suit.
Yeah,
But for the time, it was absolutely mind blowing.
Yes, I mean, and as a little kid, it blew my little mind. It warped my fragile little mind. But I loved that movie growing up. I used to watch it like once a day for like 2 years straight. It was crazy.
The original.
Yes.
I watched it whenever it came on WTTO 21.
Local station here at Birmingham
That had fantastic movies every Sunday afternoon.
It did. And then sometimes
usually Star Wars. They would cycle through the original trilogy.
It would before, that became relevant again. So
I was well, I'm not gonna say I was a fan of the 98 Godzilla. I was, by goodness, a fan of the soundtrack.
Oh, the soundtrack was amazing. I think that is one of the first CDs I ever owned.
Same here.
I've still got it.
Oh yeah.
And
I still listen to it.
I'll listen to it, but here's the crappy thing about it is you can't find it on a streaming service. So I don't know if there's a copyright thing or if there's a intellectual properties rights or something. I don't know.
Well, let's see. It had, of course, Puff Daddy featuring Jimmy Page, Led Zeppelin fame,
right?
Doing "Come With Me" with Kashmir's Rift, which was my favorite song in junior high.
Yeah,
going into high school. Had Jamiroquai.
Deeper Underground.
Had Silverchair.
Yes.
Had some Fighters of Foo.
Oh, that song that they have on there.
What was it called? Like
A320.
That's it. And then it had Days of the New. Which
I've got all these tunes going through my head as you're naming them too.
Man. Ben Folds 5.
Right. And then it had
Coming Up for Air.
Searching for Clues.
Yeah.
Which is actually just movie jargon. I mean, I usually listen to a lot of movie soundtracks, but that's not one of them I could listen to. Wasn't We Could Be Heroes on there?
Oh, who was that?
Wallflowers?
Wallflowers. You're right. I think that was.
I skip that song every time.
I think that was track number 1 because track number 2 is Puff Daddy.
Yeah. I used to go 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, and 12. I think is what it was.
I know, but let me tell you what, that soundtrack got listened to on many a field trip.
Yes, it did.
It went to Mountainville and back several times.
Please, someone go and Google Mountainville. And if Mountainville has an uptick on Google, we want to take credit for it.
We saved Mountainville.
Yeah, little Alabama history lesson there. So,
cool place.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I got a boomerang there.
I did too. And guess what? They don't come back.
They don't come back. Unlike The Simpsons has taught us.
Man, I chunked it too.
Oh, I did too. And it's always like, oh, you got to like use your wrist. You got to flick it with your wrist a certain way. I'm like, stupid thing's not coming back, dude.
Ever how you're supposed to throw it, I didn't.
Yeah.
Because it went into the woods and was never seen again.
Well, these things are just daggum plywood. That's all it was.
Yeah.
We thought we had something great and wonderful. It's like, man, look at the aerodynamics of this. No, it's shaped like an L and you throw it and it doesn't come back. It's got 2 little red tips on the end and you throw it and it never comes back.
Oh, man.
We were so gullible. People saw us coming from a mile away.
They did.
Stupid Alabama school children. Yeah, 98 Godzilla. I like the movie a little bit. I don't feel like they showed Godzilla enough. The original King Kong versus Godzilla. I liked the movie back when I was a kid. I hated the ending.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to go ahead and throw this out there now. Because of the ending in that movie, I have never liked King Kong.
Because you and I are both Godzilla fans.
I am a Godzilla fan. I'm a Godzilla guy.
And see, we were hoping to have at least Nick from Talk or Go Home.
Right. Now, Nick is, if you've listened to any,
fan.
He's a King Kong fan, but Nick is also a very big movie guy.
Yeah.
Like from a director and a cinematography standpoint. Nick's your movie guy. We really would have liked to have had him on tonight, but scheduling conflicts and whatnot.
Yeah. And same with Brandon, just couldn't, line up.
Right.
They're busy.
And honestly, that's kind of why we're taking a little bit of a break and coming back in August, because we know we're all about to be busy. So,
my buddy Eric,
mhm.
who was on one of our Metal Gear Solid skits,
Yeah,
episode 5, I think, gave you your name. He's a King Kong guy too.
Magma Ostrich.
You know, here's a little trivia for you.
Okay.
Where that name came from. In high school, back when the internet was new and cool, like somehow, some way, a buddy of mine found a website where you basically put in like your last name.
Well, that's literally what he said in the skit too.
It's just like it. And mine came out Magma Ostrich, and that was in the late 90s, early 2000s, and so that's just stuck with me ever since.
It's kind of like my Spanish name was Javier, and it's stuck with me forever since.
I was Juan.
Wow, we got a little off track there. So you told me something I didn't know about the original movie, and that was that there was actually 2 endings, kind of the Clue kind of thing,
right?
So depending on what region you were in, if you were in the Americas, you got the King Kong ending, King Kong wins ending, and if you were, I guess, in the Pacific side, Japan, well, specifically Japan, that Godzilla won,
right? So
basically, at the end of the movie, they tumble into the water, into the deep, and one of them comes up and walks away through the ocean and into the sunset.
Yep.
So all I got to see was King Kong win. I hated it. I wanted Godzilla to win with his awesome scream and his radioactive.
Well, it just makes more sense. He's Godzilla. So the '98 movie was it's I can't watch it if I see it on TV. It's hard to watch.
It is, but the way they modeled that Godzilla was not quite like the.
I didn't like it.
You didn't like the model?
It
I didn't like the story. I didn't like the story. I didn't like the fact that they made Godzilla, a mom, basically.
Yeah, laying eggs
in Madison Square Garden.
Just I just didn't like anything about it except the soundtrack. And I went and saw it in theaters, and even then, as a bright-eyed, bushy-tailed little 14, 15-year-old, I was like, this is
awful.
Yeah, it's terrible. Why do they do this?
One more trivia before we leave out from the '98. Do you remember the guy that used to do Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous?
Oh gosh, hold on, Robin Leach.
Yes. Look at you. He hosted something on MTV back when MTV actually did music videos. Yes, we're that old. The most expensive music videos ever, and the Puff Daddy was number 1. But it was disqualified because it was part of a soundtrack, not of its own album. But that I always remembered that for some reason. Michael Jackson's "Scream" was actually number 1.
Scream? You mean Thriller?
No, "Scream." He had a sound called a music video for the song "Scream."
Yeah, I was thinking Thriller.
No, not Thriller. I mean, that was just zombie dancing. And eating popcorn.
That was a fantastic video, though.
Yeah, it was. We've discussed this, that at one of our funerals, that dance shall be done.
Right.
So, all right. That should be plenty of spoiler alert for everybody.
Well, we got through the '98 movie.
Yeah.
And then the 2014 movie comes around. And a lot of people were skeptical.
Wow. Stroke set in awful early here.
I'll tell you what, those onion rings.
That burger.
Yeah, that burger. Delicious burger, though. Big Chief and Glencoe.
Go check them out. Tell them Hammy and Spam sent you.
They'll say, who?
Yeah, they will.
So the 2014 movie's coming around, and a lot of people were skeptical about it.
Yeah, because it was a reboot. 100%. But this
whole
was
new universe.
But right, and that's the thing. They were wanting to create a whole monster verse.
Which Toho, who does the mainline Godzilla movies, I think they've rebooted Godzilla 3 times.
Yes.
So the most recent being 2016, Shin Godzilla. I watched a little clip of it. God bless them. Their Toho is still struggling with special effects. But 2014, Godzilla comes around, and went and saw it in theater in Birmingham.
I did not. I wish I would have because I did end up watching this movie and I enjoyed it.
Oh yeah,
I enjoyed it a lot. I thought they did a very good job.
I went with Alex and Goodman. I know who that is, and I absolutely loved it. I thoroughly enjoyed 2014 Godzilla. I watched it again just the other day.
Well, here's the thing about the reboot, the American reboot is traditionally Godzilla's always been this feared gigantic lizard, fire breathing lizard that has never really been the good guy. It just always seems that way.
Yeah, he's always been more of a villain. Maybe sometimes he'll be something of a anti-hero.
Right.
And so 2014 comes around and he's the hero
Right.
of the story.
He's the actual hero of the story. And they set it up. And I thought they did a very good job setting it up.
And a lot of people talk about how they didn't like the human story. I enjoyed the human story. You know, is the guy who was just trying to get home to his family.
Right.
And he just keeps interweaving with Godzilla and those other monsters.
But see, here's the thing. Do you really watch these movies for the human story of this? The human story. There's no way to make the human story of this something that's going to be Emmy winning.
No, and you're right. People don't go to it for the human story, but the human story is what drives the movie.
Absolutely.
I mean, if it's just monsters the whole time, it's got to be done right.
Right.
And it's going to be expensive,
Exactly.
but you've got to have some plot.
Well,
So
I mean, that's
that's
just
what
like
they're
you
there
said.
for.
It chugs the movie along. It makes it move, progress forward, and show the story. But as part of this, there was also I guess, a soft reboot of Kong.
Yeah, not connected to Peter Jackson's 2007.
Yeah, because it
Movie, I
came out
think.
because it was one of the kind of
Which
launch titles for 360,
it was,
the King Kong
and
Skull Island.
it was very similar to the original King Kong. It was set in the same time period,
Right.
and King Kong was the tragic villain in that one.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Kong Skull Island, set in the same universe,
2017.
right? And the whole time throughout these movies, you got this organization known as Monarch,
Mm-hmm.
which is hunting the Titans, which is what they consider these giant beasts like Godzilla and Kong, and then other ones you learn later. I think I don't think they ever mentioned Kong in the 2014 Godzilla.
No.
They did mention that Operation Castle, which is when the U.S. was testing nuclear bombs at the Bikini Atoll.
Mm-hmm.
That whole thing wasn't a test; that it was trying to kill Godzilla. So it's cool how they tied that in, and that was again back in 1954.
Right.
And so in this one, they don't really mention Kong Skull Island. I don't think they really mention Godzilla. They mention, that there was something. John Goodman's character said that something sunk his ship,
Mm-hmm.
and he saw something. But that is where they start talking about Hollow Earth,
Right.
a little bit, and you do see an image of Godzilla in the cave paintings. But this is basically what the MonsterVerse, from what I understand, they're set up because they wanted this movie, Godzilla versus Kong. They wanted to set it up, and so that's why they actually did a better job of setting up these two characters and getting them together than DC did.
I knew that was coming. I knew there was going to be a DC zing there.
I mean, think about it. It's like the Marvel movies, but with just two characters.
Yeah, essentially. But see, well, we'll get into that when we get to the end of this. But so Hollow Earth is just that. It's the Earth that's hollow, and this is where all these Titans kind of originate, live.
Exactly.
And I guess they come to Earth's surface to fight.
Well, Earth back in the day apparently was very radiated, and they feed off radiation.
Mm-hmm.
And as Earth radiation kind of subsided,
right,
they either went into hibernation,
right,
or they went back to the Hollow Earth, which is where the core is, and apparently a ton of radiation.
Right.
Even though they didn't really seem to think there's a lot of radiation in this movie that we're going to talk about. But
so finishing up Kong Skull Island, walk me through why exactly are they trying? Why are they trying to find Kong? What are they trying to do? Are they just trying to study him?
Well, they found this island, Skull Island, and it's surrounded by this perpetual hurricane.
Hmm.
Um, and so no one's ever gotten into it. It's set in the 70s. Monarch at this point is a very small organization within the U.S. government. Um, John Goodman's character is one of the main guys at Monarch, if not the top dog. And he's got this obsession with finding these Titans. See, they know about them already
Right.
through Godzilla, through the stuff in the 50s.
Mm-hmm.
They know they're out there, and he's wanting to get there for two reasons. Number one, to find if there are Titans there. And number two, because they're starting to think about this Hollow Earth theory. And
this is a gateway.
Right. They theorize there's one on Skull Island.
Right. Okay, so they find out about Godzilla. They're wanting to capture him. Godzilla. Gosh, you might listen to me. They
Kong.
find out about Kong. They're wanting to capture him. That's the premise of the movie for the most part, right? I mean, they're just trying to capture him.
Oh, they're trying to kill him.
I thought they were just trying to capture him.
Samuel Jackson's character is all for killing him. And it's been a while since I watched it. I was rewatching it today and didn't get to finish it.
Okay.
But
I guess so, because they were shooting missiles and stuff.
Yeah, and John Goodman's character is basically wanting to prove that they exist to the government, so they can come back and eradicate them. Because he was the only survivor of his shipwreck. And it doesn't say who the Titan is that destroyed his ship, but
it just that it was a Titan.
Right.
And because he just associates all Titans with that he wants to get rid of Kong.
Correctly.
Okay. All right, so you take everything you learned in this movie, like you said, it's set in the 70s, and you go to, I guess I kind of refer to any sequel as Godzilla 2.
Yeah, King of the Monsters.
But it's, King of the Monsters. Now, I didn't watch this until just a couple of days ago myself, and I told you I just kind of didn't pay a whole lot of attention to the story. I was more focused on the battles with the different, monsters and stuff.
I'll say I was full on story. Okay. I was almost skipping battles.
Oh wow, okay. Well, see, I watched this. It was me and Maze. It was probably like 9:30 at night, and I'm trying to get him in bed. And he's like, "Oh, I watched this movie a ton of times. So I've never seen it." And he's like, "Well, just go to the battles. They're really cool." I was like, "Okay, buddy." So we're kind of sitting there watching it before bed, and I didn't get a chance to go back and actually watch it.
That's what you get for listening to a 12-year-old.
He's almost 13.
Not quite. He'll be sure when he gets there.
Yeah, maybe, probably.
But not. Yeah, King of the Monsters is a definite step up as far as technology for the humans. In the 2014 Godzilla, it's pretty grounded, pretty based in reality as far as what humans can do, and it's just them trying to figure out, where these Titans stand. How can we deal with them? And they make so many mistakes with it. And they make even worse mistakes in King of Monsters because they've grown since then. They're monitoring them. They're watching Godzilla from a base called Castle Bravo, which is interesting because Castle Bravo was the name for the operation where they the specific testing within Operation Castle where they dropped the bombs that they show they were using against Godzilla. That's where I was hoping Nick would be here because that's a little history thing there.
Yeah, y'all can have y'all's little inside joke later.
But anyway, so King of the Monsters, don't want to get too deep into that, but that goes into more of the Hollow Earth. They talk about that. You're seeing the crazy technology they've got.
Well, it goes into Hollow Earth, but it also goes into what you were talking about with being dormant. Because at one point, when all these monsters start waking up, they're like mountains.
Yeah.
Like they're underneath these mountains. All of a sudden, they wake up, and there's mountains crumbling underneath them as they're waking up.
Right. And Monster Zero, Ghidorah, find out is not from Earth. He's actually an extraterrestrial who has something of control over the Titans and is wanting to use them to basically terraform our planet into something more that he needs.
King Ghidorah, is that not how they?
Yeah.
Okay. Because at that point, he's referenced as the King of the Monsters because they're kind of following his lead. Like he's
right. He has that control.
Right.
Of course, Godzilla beats him. after going
Well,
Super Saiyan.
well,
The
that
final battle.
well, I do kind of want to touch on that because that was just kind of cool. But he, had, I don't know, he doesn't actually die, but there's at one point where they have a battle and Godzilla rips off one of the heads,
Yeah,
and
that's where humans screwed up right there
right,
because he was going to kill Ghidorah right there. He had him beat,
and
and he ripped off one of the heads, and then that massive missile comes in, the oxygen destroyer.
right, it sucked all the oxygen out. It's supposed to kill everybody, but it didn't
Yeah.
kill Ghidorah. Ghidorah gets away.
Yeah, it didn't phase him necessarily. It did a lot of damage to Godzilla, but he was able to escape to his home.
But before you get there, you're right, he did. But at the time of watching the movie, you don't really know that because they're kind of detecting his heartbeat because it's so
Right.
loud, and it actually goes away, and they're like, oh, he's gone. So
Yeah.
they're like, well, there goes our last hope, and they've got all this technology where they're like, okay, we got to use the technology to try to win.
And you ain't.
Yeah, no way.
I mean, it's pretty much established in all these movies that we're at the mercy of the Titans.
Sure.
And yeah, no, and that's the cool part where they find Godzilla's lair. It's basically Atlantis.
Mm-hmm.
So you find out that they have been here a long time. Humans have worshipped them. But anyway, that sets up the Hollow Earth thing, which they're going to use a lot in Godzilla versus Kong.
Mm-hmm.
They talk about Kong and Skull Island a lot in that movie.
Right.
And basically, Kong is kind of isolated from the other Titans, but he's what they consider another alpha.
Mm-hmm.
So him and Godzilla are both alphas, and they're going to butt heads when they meet.
Right.
Everyone knows it.
So finishing up, King of Monsters. Is it King of Monsters? I keep saying
Yeah, that's it.
thing. Ghidorah comes back. Godzilla shows up. Godzilla gets his butt kicked.
Yeah,
The
Ghidorah is powering up with the electricity.
Right. The humans use their technology to lure Ghidorah away, so Godzilla can, like you said, kind of power up his radiation.
Well, Mothra comes in. She sacrifices herself.
Now, I was gonna ask that question. She actually perishes in this movie.
Yeah, because Ghidorah hits her with his power beam attack or whatever.
Right.
And she completely disintegrates, but it falls onto Godzilla.
The dust or whatever yeah.
And they talk about how Mothra and Godzilla, their species, have something of a symbiotic relationship.
Okay, I was going to ask now,
they consider her the queen and Godzilla the king.
Okay. Mothra is the way they kind of had it set up in this movie. Mothra was it wasn't a creation of the humans. I'd be incorrect in saying that, but she had some kind of, I guess, because she's getting into this cocoon form. Like they found her when she was in her cocoon form,
right.
Maybe.
And she comes out in caterpillar form.
Right.
Escapes and then comes out in her moth form finally.
Like I said, I kind of skipped through a lot of the dialogue, but I mean, all that makes sense. All that, kind of based on the battles and stuff. Now, you've got other monsters in this as well.
You got Rodan.
But these are the two big ones. Yeah. Godzilla looked awesome when he went in his full nuclear stage
and completely decimated Ghidorah.
Oh, 100%.
Destroyed him.
So we thought.
Well, we'll get, just bear in mind the head he ripped off in the ocean.
Yes.
It ends with all the monsters basically.
Oh, is that the one? Okay. Yeah.
Because
he's eating the other one at the end of the movie. Yeah. Okay.
He holds it up in his mouth and just blasts it to smithereens.
But not only that, Ghidorah was able to, like a starfish, regenerate a head. So I thought that was kind of,
he was like Cell from Dragon Ball Z. Godzilla had to go Super Saiyan 2.
We've worked in a Lost reference and 2 Dragon Ball Z references into a movie about King Kong and Godzilla.
So, man, we're nerds.
We are.
So yeah, he and at the end, Godzilla's
Godzilla's a hero again.
The other Titans come up and basically bow to him. They're like, "Oh man, yeah, you were a top dog. You were definitely top dog." And the clips at the end you see where the other Titans are actually helping the Earth, helping to like rebuild Earth. And then they found another Mothra egg, so Mothra's coming back.
Okay. So yeah, and that was like a post-credit scene, kind of like a Marvel thing.
Yeah, that was during the credits. The post-credit scene is where the villain, which was Tywin Lannister from Game of Thrones,
yes,
buys the severed head of Ghidorah that Godzilla ripped off in the ocean
Okay.
off the coast of Mexico. That's where he goes, to that place in Mexico,
Right.
and gets it. And so that sets us
See,
up to this movie.
and see a lot of that backstory. Obviously I miss, so that does
I
help make.
recommend watching the movie. It's really good. I don't know why some people didn't like it. I really enjoyed it. I still say 2014 Godzilla is my favorite just because it's different. It's because they don't have the technology. It's more grounded, and I really like the human story. But King of Monsters was fantastic.
Right. So getting into Godzilla versus Kong, this story is set 5 years after these events.
Right.
You start off and they've got Kong, and he's in this Thunderdome looking thing.
He's in the Truman Show.
Like, he even gets up and he's like, he wakes up and he's like scratching his butt, and he goes and gets under the waterfall, and then the next thing you know, he goes and he takes a tree and he throws it at the sky or
Yeah.
toward the sun. And then you see the sun kind of shatter a little bit. And what he's doing, he's throwing at the top of this dome that's housing him.
Well, the reason being is, and they state during the movie, that the storm that's surrounding Skull Island has moved in and completely made Skull Island basically uninhabitable.
Mm-hmm.
They've made this dome to not only house him in an environment that's more akin to how it was before the storms, but it also wiped out the indigenous people that were there. And so this is all set, nearly 40 years after
Right.
Skull Island.
Mm-hmm.
It's wiped out the indigenous people except for that little girl who can speak to him.
Right. She can sign to him, and that's kind of a big thing in the movie.
They're also keeping him up because they don't want Godzilla to find him. They know that they're both alphas. They know that they'll both fight.
Right. So the whole synopsis of the story is they can kind of sense each other, and whenever they sense an alpha or a threat, one will try to find the other some way or another.
Right.
And usually it's Godzilla, since I guess he's got the best scent seeker or something.
Well,
I don't know.
He's
well, just because you're king doesn't mean all of a sudden your senses get heightened, but
I don't know. I've never been king.
So
that's where they come to, is they have
they're trying to keep them away from each other.
Right. And at the same time, Godzilla randomly, quote unquote, randomly attacks Pensacola, Florida,
which is a fantastic location for, anything that has to do with just sensor technology stuff.
As long as he didn't destroy McGuire's Irish Pub, I'm all right. So he comes up, he takes down, and people are like, oh no, Godzilla's turned on us.
Right.
He's going crazy. But then you see that the character, I can't remember for the life of me his name, the conspiracy theorist,
Madison Russell is
the girl, the guy who has the podcast, Bernie. And he gets in and he sees that there's some weird technology happening with this company, Apex.
Bernie Hayes.
I think they're called Apex.
It is Apex Cybernetics.
And so he feels like they're doing something to enrage Godzilla.
Mm-hmm.
Like in King of the Monsters, they had that orca, that machine,
right,
that could basically communicate to the
Titans. Right, and that's how they lured Ghidorah away from Godzilla, let him power up.
And so it's almost like they're doing something similar here.
Mm-hmm.
And so, as far as people know, our Apex is taking this opportunity, saying, "Oh no, look, Godzilla's bad."
Right.
In this false flag attack. And they're saying we need to get Kong to fight Godzilla.
Mm-hmm.
Because Godzilla's turned on us and we need Kong. And they're also trying to get to Hollow Earth. And this is the bulk of what they want.
Right.
They believe that there is a source of energy at the core of the Earth, in the Hollow Earth, that will give them the power they need to power what they're building, that we'll get to in just a little bit. So all these pieces are coming together.
But you as the watcher of a film are kind of piecing these together, but of course the people in the movie are not, because you're seeing, behind the scenes stuff and whatnot.
Right. And it's like I said, at this point in the movie, you're seeing some crazy technology from the humans.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually saw this before I saw King of the Monsters. King of the Monsters kind of bridges 2014 in this movie because you see that huge technology jump, which was
Right.
kind of mind blowing
A
when you
little
think
bit.
about it.
A little bit.
Because they went, like I said, from very standard, realistic tech in 2014 to straight up,
Sci-fi.
yeah,
Well, one of the things that they talk about are when they're trying to find Hollow Earth are these heave vehicles.
yeah,
Um, and basically it's a miniature space shuttle, I guess, kind of.
yeah. They look like the shuttles from Star Trek. They're so the theory is well, they find the professor who's actually his brother tried to get to Hollow Earth.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to find these gateways that go into the world. And at one point you hit basically this gravity well.
It's a reverse gravity effect.
Yeah. And it flings you down into the center of the earth.
Mm-hmm.
But once you get down there, if you survive it, it's trippy because the gravity changes, but
Now, from a visual aspect,
looks amazing.
it does look amazing, but it looks like two mountains on opposite end. It looks like you know how when you can see.
We'll get to
Okay.
Middle Earth, Hollow Earth.
Wow.
Yeah, those hobbits. And at this point, you have to kind of accept that they're not going to, that there's going to be a lot of suspension of disbelief.
Yes. And this is where Hammy's world famous phrase of giant lizard versus giant ape comes into effect.
Because you kept bringing up, it's like, how can they? And I'd be like, dinosaur versus giant monkey. Just stay focused on it. I appreciate that the movie did this, by the way. They take some pretty outrageous stuff and just roll with it. It's like,
Sure.
You know what? We're not going to make this movie to make people rethink the way they live.
Yeah. This movie is what it is. It says in the title.
It's a giant dinosaur versus a giant gorilla or monkey.
That can sign language and talk to humans.
Yes. Don't ask questions. Just watch the movie.
Just watch the stinking movie. Be entertained.
And it's cool because the director, Adam Wingard, he apparently got some roots in Alabama.
Yeah, I think he's actually from Tennessee, but I think he, like you said, he does have some roots in Alabama.
He said that when he was a kid, he had an argument with a friend over who would win this fight.
Well, you and I already know who would win this fight.
Yeah. And so he got to grow up and make the movie and pick the winner that he wanted to win. God bless you, Adam Wingard.
Thank you. That is a cool sentence to say too. I grew up. We had a fight, and that's like me and you having a discussion over which Ninja Turtle's the best, and you saying, "Oh, it's Leonardo," and me saying, "Well, it's Michelangelo," and you say, "Well, I'm gonna make a movie, and by God, my guy's gonna win because I can do it, and it's my movie."
I like to think that he went to his friend's house after he made the movie.
See,
it's like you owe me some baseball cards here to collect. So, anyway, so now they're trying to get Kong to fight. Well, actually, no. Let me back that up. They're not necessarily wanting Kong to fight Godzilla. They're wanting Kong to find Hollow Earth.
right?
And so that's where they get him on the ships.
Mm-hmm.
And great series of events on the ships.
Yes. Well, they've got him restrained. They got him sedated.
Mm-hmm. You learn that he can actually speak, or not sign. Speak. Yeah, he can sign.
Right.
So he can understand what we're saying, and he can sign it back.
He doesn't understand what we're saying. He still has to have the girl as a communication.
I think he does.
I don't know, because she's the one that still had to tell him home.
Well, she was telling him that.
She was,
or she was telling the grown lady that he doesn't like your plan. He doesn't think it'll work.
Well, how do you know the little girl didn't tell him the plan? I don't know.
That is true. Well, either way, we can communicate with him.
There you go. That's all that matters. That's the point. Giant lizard versus giant gorilla.
On the way there, of course, Godzilla senses
him because he's kind of in his territory there in the water.
They have a fight. You know what's funny? We're watching this with Nick, and Nick's like, "See, look, Godzilla is killing people." Kong Skull Island. The first time you come across, or the Americans come across King Kong, he starts killing them and eating them. How dare you?
Tasty morsels.
we're just We're like the little people on Primal
Primal
Rage.
Rage, exactly. You go out there and start worshiping, you pick them up and eat them.
Yeah. So they have a little fight, little spat on the ocean.
Yeah.
Godzilla wins.
Yeah.
They're able to get away because they convince Godzilla that Kong is unconscious or beaten and that the ships are powered down.
Yeah. Yeah, that they had basically given up. And he's like, okay, there's no more threat here, so he goes away.
On the other side, of course, you've got Millie Bobby Brown's character, Madison, who was in King of Monsters.
Yeah, this is 11 from Stranger Things.
Her friend and Bernie have teamed up, and they're trying to get to the bottom of Apex because they don't believe that
they don't believe
Godzilla's turned evil.
Right, they don't believe what the media is trying to paint Godzilla as.
While the little girl is, able to communicate with Kong, Millie Bobby Brown, she can't really communicate with Godzilla, but she, is a Godzilla fan.
Sure.
She had that famous scene in King of Monsters.
I was going to say she was right there when all this went down. She lost her mother during that fight.
And that was such a cool scene when she's face down Ghidorah and the beam comes and hits Ghidorah and she just kind of smiles and looks back and there's Godzilla walking out of the water with all the jets flying behind him. Oh man. God, it was awesome.
America.
So they're trying to get to the bottom of it. They're trying to prove that Godzilla isn't evil.
Right. So after this scene, they get Kong to
Antarctica. Back to the original movie, lifting him in the net with the helicopters.
Yeah, there was a couple of throwbacks with that. So yeah, they lifted him in this net because they wanted to make it to where Godzilla couldn't sense him. He could sense him on the ocean, but if he flew him over the air, Godzilla couldn't sense him. So they get him to Antarctica, where there is a tunnel that goes to Hollow Earth. Kong is very hesitant to go in, but the little girl signs to him home.
Yeah, and that there might be others like him.
Right.
Well, she wasn't lying.
She wasn't.
That's where he came from.
She wasn't. She did not lie. She didn't know.
Yeah.
But she basically said there could be others down there, family, I guess, basically. So Kong takes off, and then they jump in these heaves and follow him.
Yep.
And he gets, I guess, to the middle of Earth and
Hollow Earth. Yeah.
That's where gravity takes place. And
now describe it.
Well, Kong is falling and he hits the ground.
he gets about halfway in, and it's like two mountain ranges are like above each other.
Yeah, they're kind of converged on top of each other. And what I was going to say,
some of the best special effects. Can I just say that?
Yeah.
Holy cow, special effects knocked out of the park.
You know how it looks like when you look into a puddle of water, like dirty water, and you can kind of see the reflection back. Think about a mountain looking at another mountain, and basically the tips like they're about to touch.
Yeah,
is really what it looks like. So there's kind of, even though it's Hollow Earth and it's within Earth, there's almost like two different levels of
because the gravity from each side is coming together. Which, you would think that would be more spherical, but hey, you know what? Dinosaurs, giant monkeys. Where does the air come from? Dinosaurs versus giant monkeys.
Yep.
So he goes falling in to the point where the other gravity grabs him and he starts falling back upwards and hits the ground.
So while all this is going on, you've got Bernie and Madison and her friend Josh. They go into the wreckage of Apex in Pensacola and they start snooping around. They find,
sub-basement, because these that's something else, man. These companies build some massive freaking bases.
Way in the bottom.
Like you could fit a city in this building.
It's like old New York inside of New York.
Yeah, they get down there.
Is that my first Futurama reference?
That was probably the first one we've ever had. So, yeah, they get in there and they find where they've got the skull crawler eggs.
Mm-hmm.
The skull crawlers were Kong's enemies.
Right.
And Skull Island. And they take that tunnel that goes from Pensacola.
Well, they get caught in this. It's a monorail, right?
Basically, monorail.
God, I wish we could put the monorail song in right here, like in the background.
Yeah.
Anyway, they're stuck on this monorail. It's going to Hong Kong, and they can't get out. They can't do anything, so they just kind of take a nap, don't they?
Pretty much. I mean, what else you gonna do? It's gonna be a long trip. I mean,
Yeah,
it's a
I mean,
tunnel.
and it's going super fast. Don't get me wrong, but that's still a long trip.
Because you're like a tunnel from Pensacola to Hong Kong. Dinosaurs versus
Wouldn't
giant
that
monkeys.
take years to build? And that of all places to have a direct tunnel to Hong Kong, why Pensacola? New
Well,
York,
you
I can
know,
understand.
The portal to Looney Tunes world is in Alabama.
It's a Birmingham Country Club. And there's no such thing as a Birmingham Country Club.
There's another one under the parking lot of Piggly Wiggly.
I love this podcast. I love doing this with you. Oh my goodness. Okay.
Please let us know if you get that reference.
Yes, absolutely. So once they kind of get to Hong Kong,
The Apex headquarters.
they stumble onto a test of Mechagodzilla.
Yep. Dun dun dun.
Which, like we said, was what Apex has been working on the entire time, is this Mechagodzilla thing. But they need the power from Hollow Earth to power it. So it's all kind of coming together of why Apex is interested in Kong, why Apex is interested in the Hollow Earth theory.
Yep. Because they want to be top of the food chain again. They want to kill the Titans.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to make this giant Mechagodzilla to do it. And they're using the skull from the Ghidorah head that Godzilla decapitated to basically be a supercomputer for this thing.
Right, but how in the world do we explain this? The Mechagodzilla that they're wanting to power, that is using the nervous system of Ghidorah, works telepathically. Someone has to drive it.
Yeah.
Someone has to drive the Mechagodzilla.
Right.
So basically, there's somebody sitting in the skull of Ghidorah that's got all this telepathic stuff going on.
That's controlling
Mechagodzilla.
Dinosaurs versus giant monkeys.
Okay, and I'm just saying, I'm just trying to explain kind of what's going on, because it was a little hard for me to wrap my head around.
Oh, it is. And trust me, when you go into this movie, if you haven't seen it yet, and for whatever reason you're listening to our spoiler-filled review, you've got to go in with suspension of disbelief. This is not a movie that's, like I said, is going to make you have feelings or change the way you think or make you scratch your head or like, man, I need to, look into that. This is a fun movie.
Right.
This is absolute blast because let me tell you, special effects are incredible. Cinematography is incredible. Mm-hmm. Soundtrack and the fights are absolutely the best they've ever been. So you have a telepathic guy sitting in the skull of King Ghidorah controlling Mechagodzilla. and a facility in Hong Kong, which is connected to Pensacola, Florida by a long tunnel underground.
Are you caught up? Good. So they've stumbled onto this test and they're releasing these monsters for Mechagodzilla to fight.
Yeah, skull crawlers.
But they realize that Mechagodzilla doesn't have the power to do anything.
Right. They can only use him for so
long before this power is completely drained. So now you know why everybody's going to Hollow Earth. But at this point, it's when this team of 3 gets caught, correct?
Not yet. It's a little later on. It pans back over to the team in Hollow Earth where Kong is
he gets to the throne room.
Right. See, the scientists had a theory, and this is something else, of ancient memories or something like that? Which is kind of the same concept in Assassin's Creed where memories are basically imprinted on DNA.
Right.
And so they feel that King Kong will have memories of where he needs to go imprinted on his DNA from his ancestors. And apparently they're right. Because he finds this massive throne room.
It's kind of like how whales know to go to certain places to have babies, where they were born to go have their babies.
That is very true.
So, I mean, it does make sense. And there's some of the there's the realism that comes into this. So yeah, they make it to this throne room,
or you find out that apparently the Kongs and Godzillas have
had wars all throughout their history. But there is this awesome weapon.
Yeah, the axe.
And is the axe just laying on the ground from the
It's
war?
sticking out of the skull of a dead Godzilla.
Okay.
Um, and it's made from one of Godzilla's or a Godzilla's fin.
Right.
So that's why it can hold that
The
same
radiation. Yeah.
power. He gets in there, gets to the throne room, and who made it is what I want to know. Could it have been ancient people that made it? I don't think
I think it's too big. You think about who's holding it.
that's true. But there's statues and stuff
Yeah. That's
of
true.
Kongs. And
Well, during all this time, the Apex team that supplied the heaves, they draw power from
well, yeah, Kong lays down the axe and
right.
indention, and it starts charging up the axe with the
Mhm.
same blue radiation that powers Godzilla.
Right.
And when it zooms out, like it's all arranged in like a circle, it's like a long Godzilla.
Yeah.
And so it's drawing power. So they find the power source they need, and they're like, okay, we're going to take that now.
Right. And they're just getting a sample of that power,
Well, it
right?
was weird. This is another suspension of disbelief moment. They've got that little robot scanning it, and somehow
It's
back in Hong
uploading. It's
Kong,
uploading the power from one area to another via Wi-Fi.
you know what?
Giant lizards, giant apes.
I'll say this: they ain't using Windstream either.
Rural Alabama internet.
So, Godzilla, meanwhile, has gotten to Hong Kong. He senses. Well, and by the way, this whole time they find out that he's been sensing Ghidorah.
Right.
That's why he rampaged in Pensacola. He sensed Ghidorah.
Right, because there was an eyeball there.
Yeah, there was an eyeball that they had stored there that they shipped to Hong Kong. He's sensing.
But
all
was
this
it was it
happening.
the eyeball that was drawing the power, and that's what caused Godzilla to be there and then destroy the facility in
Right.
Pensacola? Okay.
Yeah, he was sensing basically another alpha, Ghidorah.
Sure.
He gets to Hong Kong because he's sensing it, but then he also senses the power in the center of the earth, and that's when he just lets loose his beam and blasts a hole from Hong Kong to the center of the earth.
Literally the size of Godzilla. I mean, this is a huge hole.
I think that would probably destroy the world if that happened.
Yeah.
I'm no scientist.
But Batman's a scientist.
Yes. But I did stay at a Holiday Inn Express. But so meanwhile on Hollow Earth, it's like Apex is turning on the good guys because like, aha, we're here to steal the power. We stole the power. We're getting out of here. Nope. King Kong kills them.
King Kong kind of, I guess, maybe the little girl signed to him. I don't know. But he realized, okay.
No, they're just shooting at him.
I know, but I'm just saying, I'm just trying to be funny there. Shut up, Hammy.
Because he grabs the ship, the heave, and he looks in it. And he's like, anybody in there I care about? Nope.
Yeah, and then
Boom.
just crushes it.
The beam, the Godzilla's beam comes through the ground.
Right.
Because that's a thing. and Godzilla or King Kong jumps in.
Yeah.
With the axe to go take on Godzilla again.
In Hong Kong.
Right. And the remaining good guys, which is the professor guy, the grown-up lady,
the grown-up lady that's taking care of the kid, and the kid.
I don't remember any of their names. Their names are unimportant. All you need is Godzilla.
It's not Godzilla and King Kong, so let's just keep going.
They get their last remaining heave and follow.
Yeah, they go through Godzilla's newly bored tunnel back to Earth. So basically, Godzilla sensed Kong, made a huge tunnel, and said, "All right, big boy, come get me."
Either that or he's trying to hit him. I don't know. Either way,
I don't know either.
Either way, King Kong made it from the center of Earth to Hong Kong in record time. Godzilla had only gone like 5 steps.
Yeah.
And so he comes out. They have a fight. The good guys come out, have the awesome sequence where they come zipping out of the tunnel,
right?
And they're trying to avoid getting hit by both Kong and Godzilla. So they have a fight. The axe.
Well, there he goes. We're no longer recording.
Test. Yeah, we're good.
Okay.
Recorder fell off.
Hammy got so excited.
Well,
and he just couldn't hide
it. There's a spider web. There's more cords here at my feet than there are tunnels in the earth in this movie.
I doubt that, but let's keep going.
Yeah, it's true. The axe proves to be a great equalizer.
Very much so.
As Kong is able to land several hits on Godzilla. Godzilla tries to use his atomic breath, which Kong is able to absorb with the axe and charge it up to make it stronger.
Mm-hmm.
But in the end, Clint,
Who
in the end, it's not enough
it is not, and who shall remain victorious?
because it goes to Godzilla.
Yeah, because he basically knocked King Kong out.
And he went full on rage mode. That was an awesome sequence where he's crawling on all fours like a giant alligator.
Yeah.
And takes down Kong. I felt bad for Kong then.
A little bit, because is this the point
Starts
where
clawing him up?
Yeah. Is this the point where Godzilla roars at Kong and Kong roars back
Yeah.
and just kind of gives up?
Well, before that, he had chunked King Kong and dislocated his left arm.
Yes.
And then just starts beating him, knocks him down, crawls on top of him, takes his foot, stomps him. You can hear, I think you can hear like bones, maybe not cracking, but
kind of that sense. Yeah.
And then he just gets in his face and roars at him.
Kong roars back, but then
Yeah.
like does not, like he understands.
But you can
that-
tell from his expressions, which by the way, they did a great job giving both these monsters personalities.
Yes.
And you could actually see expressions on their face.
Right.
Like
You can
Kong, you can
see the anger, you can see the anguish, you can see how much he cares, you know, the caringness in his eyes.
You can see in Godzilla's basically stay down.
Right. Just stay down.
I'm not here for you.
It's like Shawn Michaels talking to Ric Flair. It says, "I'm sorry, I love you," and then super kicks him.
Sweet chin music. Not Shawn Michaels throwing Marty Jannetty through the barbershop window. Oh man.
I love this podcast. I'm so glad that we are doing
Anyway,
this.
and you can see in Kong's face, he's like, I'm still defiant, but I know I'm beaten.
Right.
And even afterwards, Godzilla gets off and starts walking towards where he senses Ghidorah.
Mm-hmm.
Kong tries to stand up and falls. He's KO'd. He's unconscious.
Right. And this is the part where they flash back to the lair. I want to call it a lair.
Millie
That's not
Bobby
right.
Brown,
Yeah.
who's been captured.
They've gotten captured. This guy's kind of
The bad guy gives his monologue as villains
always do. And then somehow or another, through telepathic communication.
Well, they get the power. They get the power to make a Godzilla.
Right.
He's at full 100% power.
Yeah, and the power's not going anywhere. It doesn't diminish. It's everlasting. It's like, you know, the power song from the Sonic the Hedgehog cartoon.
But unfortunately for them, some of King Ghidorah has remained in his skull.
Yes. So Ghidorah takes over the
Mechagodzilla.
he takes over the operator.
No, he didn't take it. He kills the operator.
That's what I'm saying. He takes over the operator, kills him.
Kills him, kills the bad guy once he takes over.
So now Mechagodzilla is basically run amok. It's not an AI thing. It's a Ghidorah thing. And Ghidorah is now running Mechagodzilla.
He busts out of the mountain.
Right.
And starts taking on Godzilla and starts beating the Pioli mess.
Now, Mechagodzilla is a lot bigger than regular Godzilla.
Yeah.
Well, I hate that I'd say regular Godzilla. It's a lot bigger than Godzilla. He's taller, bigger, more powerful. Obviously, he's got more weapons because, you know, he's got missiles and stuff, and he can use his tail and do stuff with. All I could think of was the Dragon Zord from Power Rangers, the original Power Rangers. Thank you.
Green Ranger was the best.
He was the best. There's no way he was not the best. Yeah, Godzilla's getting his butt kicked.
And I mean, Godzilla's trying to fight back. He gets in a blow or two, but Mechagodzilla is just way too much.
So the guy, the scientist, I guess, uses the heave.
It's like a giant defibrillator because I feel like King Kong's dying. I'm not sure if he's dying or if he's like going into hibernation because when they take enough damage, they do that.
Well,
like me.
The little girl can sense that, you know, she's feeling the ground and said his heart's stopping, basically.
Yeah.
Or it's slowing down. So it could be a bit of both, or a bit of none either. But anyway, they use the heave as a huge giant defibrillator, like you said, shock him back to consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
And
she signs to him that Godzilla is not the enemy.
Right.
That is the enemy. Points to Mechagodzilla.
Right.
Godzilla gets up, pops his shoulder back into place, which was cool.
Yeah, he kind of just like rolled it a little bit, popped it into place, never let out a roar or a yell or anything. It's just like a total BA moment. It was like, yeah, I got
And
this.
then as Mechagodzilla is attempting to do the coup de grace to Godzilla, using his signature move of blasting into his mouth,
Yeah,
uh, King Kong jumps up, grabs him, stops him, starts attacking him. And
right.
there's that moment where Godzilla looks like, "Holy crap, it's you!"
Yeah, I
Oh,
thought.
thank God!
Thank God for that huge smoking crater.
And they team up on Mechagodzilla.
Yeah, for a pretty cool fight scene. We flash back to the evil lair where everybody's dead except for the good guys.
Yeah, yeah, and this is the part that, even though I know dinosaur versus giant monkey, this part gives me a little bit of problems
Okay,
because as they're trying to figure out a way to help Godzilla and King Kong, they're at the
control panel.
control panel. Now, Mechagodzilla is still connected via satellite.
Right.
So that's still doing something with his operation because that's how Ghidorah
It's communicating.
is communicating, is from that command center to the satellite back to Mechagodzilla. So in order to interrupt it, what is it?
I just love that you're trying to like this whole entire thing, this whole entire movie, you've been telling me giant lizard versus giant ape, but this part, this is where they try to sever the connection and give Godzilla and Kong a chance, and this is the scene that you have an issue with.
Yeah, because it's well,
It doesn't make sense.
they basically pour some liquid on into the
Liquor,
console.
because the guy had the liquor. You know,
Yeah, he
you
had
hear the
liquor bottle.
story
Yeah,
that where it's his wife gave it to her, his girlfriend gave it to
his
him,
wife
his
gave
sister
it
or
to him,
something.
then
Yeah,
she died, and the only time he'll ever drink it all is when he feels that he's at the end.
right. And he feels like he's at the end, so
So
he's trying to drink. He's trying to give the kid some.
yeah, the kid from Deadpool 2 then takes the liquor, pours it in the console, and it interrupts the link
It
enough
catches on fire.
that it causes a pause to Mechagodzilla.
Right.
Because at this point, he's actually starting to beat down both Godzilla and Kong,
Right.
and is about to kill Kong with his razor blade tail,
Right.
his drill bit tail. And that makes him stop just enough that Kong, I think, is able to grab his axe and try to fight him with it.
Yeah.
Godzilla sees what he's doing and fires up his blast straight into the axe to charge it up.
Yes.
So it's cool because they know Godzilla knows what it can do.
Right.
And so Kong sees it and he's like, "Oh, okay." And he uses that to kill Mechagodzilla.
Mm-hmm.
So they both kind of get a win. I mean, Godzilla wins the fight between them, but King Kong is the one who delivers the final blow to Mechagodzilla.
Right. And when we were watching this, I kind of made the reference to, Thor charging Iron Man's suit in the first Avengers, or whenever Tony would blast in, or Iron Man would blast into Captain America's shield,
Yeah.
and they kind of ricochet some beams off and things like that. So it's a good use of teamwork. And again, it's totally fantasy, totally sci-fi. I get it, but I enjoyed watching the teamwork between the two.
I did too. I want to see more of it. They kill Mechagodzilla.
Mhm.
Everyone's happy. Then there's a moment where, oh gosh, they might keep fighting.
Right.
And
But then there's like a moment of mutual respect
yeah,
between the two.
Kong drops his axe. Godzilla and Kong just kind of look at each other, and it's like, okay, we can coexist.
Right.
We can do this.
The NWO was formed.
Godzilla walks out to sea. He's still
Mhm.
king, but now Kong, they've taken him down to Hollow Earth,
Mm-hmm.
where they can apparently go at will.
At will now, yeah.
Um,
Well, I mean, there's a huge hole in Hong Kong, so
Yeah. kind of just right down it. But
spelunking, that's what they call it, spelunking.
so Kong is king of the Hollow Earth,
Right.
where Godzilla is still king out in the surface. No post credit scene.
No, there wasn't. So a little trippy on the end because you're kind of like, okay, how they coexist? What's going on?
That's how they're going to do it. I've heard there's going to be animated series on Kong being in Hollow Earth,
Yeah.
but I'm not 100% certain on that. I love the idea, though.
So
I want to see more of Hollow Earth. I'm actually excited about a future Kong movie in Hollow Earth.
So Godzilla's lair is not part of Hollow Earth.
No, it was
It's
on the surface.
okay. Okay, because whenever the movie ended, I thought, okay, because there's the two lands, that kind of touch each other. There's a difference in gravity between the two,
Yeah.
and all that. Whenever the movie ended, I was under the impression that they were both in Hollow Earth, but one like ruled the ceiling and one ruled the floor. And I know that sounds weird on a podcast. Go watch the movie, you kind of understand what I'm saying.
Yeah,
But you're
no.
telling me that Kong is ruling Hollow Earth
Right, the
inside,
entirety of it.
and Godzilla is ruling the surface.
Right.
Okay.
Which makes sense because majority of surface is water.
Okay.
Godzilla is an aquatic titan.
Right.
What we saw of Hollow Earth is mostly land.
Sure.
King Kong.
Okay.
So that makes sense. And like I said, I'm looking forward to seeing movies, more movies from both monsters. And I would like to see more team ups.
Yeah, I would too. And I was kind of saving. Well, I enjoyed the movie. I enjoyed watching it with you guys. I enjoyed picking fun at it sometimes. I enjoyed the questions that we were asking, and then of course your answer of giant lizard, giant ape. Let's just go with it. That really, honestly, made the movie a lot better. Because if you tried to get out of that realm and try to make some sort of sense of it, it's just too hard to.
Yeah, it's going to require too much energy.
Right. And I think that's where the critics, the stupid critics, and their 4 thumbs up, I don't understand why they trash a movie like this, thinking that it's not every movie is set out to win an Emmy, not
or Oscar.
or an Oscar,
Yeah.
or an Academy Award.
Well, that's what critics like to believe themselves to be above everyone else. So they like to use a lot of fancy words, and they like to tear stuff up. It's like, hey, this didn't make me feel a different way. It's like, shut up.
It's time to write John Deere.
This
Dear
was
John.
a fun movie.
Yes, exactly. And I guess that's what I'm getting at. Like, there's been some movies that are supposed to be fun movies that are just bad. It does happen. This is not one of them.
They did everything right they should have.
Yes.
It's under 2 hours.
Yes.
And it was action packed.
Right.
It didn't feel like 2 hours.
It didn't have to be, a movie that's 2 parts. It's not a 4-hour long movie. And here's the thing too, was this movie surprised the crap out of me that it even came out, because this is pandemic movie.
Mm-hmm.
This movie came out on HBO Max and was released in very, very, very few theaters. And it's like doubled its production cost through that.
But it's been a massive success for them.
Absolutely. To be a quote unquote home released movie, basically, it's been massive for them.
It has, and that makes me hopeful for the future of the MonsterVerse, because like I said, I told you before, I saw an interview where basically this was their end game. It's like, we're just wanting to get Godzilla versus Kong.
Yeah.
And we want to get to that point, and we probably won't have anything after that. And the MonsterVerse has been successful.
I think so. But here's the issue that I have. And you can giant ape, giant lizard, giant moth me to death. That's fine. Where do you go from here though? Name me one other in this realm, in this MonsterVerse. Name me one other monster without going to your phone.
Rodan, Behemoth, Skyla, Leviathan.
And I thought I knew a lot about
Mudo
Godzilla.
Prime.
Godzuki.
There you go. I could see.
But see, I don't see anybody.
I could see Kong encountering some stuff that would give him trouble.
Well, people know Godzilla. People know Kong. People know, for the most part, know Ghidorah, and they know Mothra. And there's going to be another Mothra.
Godzilla has basically, we've gotten the main villains for Godzilla,
right?
With Ghidorah and Mechagodzilla,
right? We've gotten Joker. We've gotten Penguin,
right?
Is Calendar Man like the next one up? I mean, is it such a huge fall off that it's going to affect the series going forward?
With Godzilla, I mean, it would almost. I don't know how much more they can do with him.
Right.
Maybe something from outer space like Ghidorah, but you're going to start getting into.
You're going to start burning people out.
Yeah, getting too far out there.
Yeah.
So it should really be, you know, not something you release often, but something when you get it right.
Right. And I understand that. I mean, what was the really bad Japanese one? Japanese Godzilla that we were watching where he teamed up with Bionic Man or something?
Oh yeah, I don't even know the name of it.
Uh, I mean, we don't need to get to that point.
Yeah.
I mean, keep them
That
good, but
that's how they did it in those old movies. They kept bringing, oh, there's this other monster and this other one.
right.
This other
Well, they
one.
Dragon Ball Z'd it.
Yeah.
Maybe that's where Dragon Ball Z came from. That's always been my thing with Dragon Ball Z. I love the series and I love everything that they've done.
This
But
is
it's
the
after
most powerful villain of all
yeah,
time.
after we've beaten one of the most powerful villains, we found another villain that's more powerful. Then we find another villain that's more powerful, and it's like, okay, well, at what point do we get to the most powerful in this season? This season ends, you know.
It's when they become the most powerful villain.
Maybe they are the villain.
Mayhaps.
That's what happened to Big Boss.
Yeah. It's not even getting to that. Which big balls?
Exactly. So, guys, if you haven't seen it, go watch it. It was a great movie. It's a good time.
For
It's
the
a good.
most part, it's family friendly. There's some language,
There's a little bit of language.
but
It's
I
it's a
loved it.
good friend movie to watch and be lighthearted enough that you can kind of pick fun at it, but still enjoy it.
Yeah.
It's not so terrible that you're gonna make fun of it,
It's
and
not.
then
It's not a movie that takes itself too seriously.
Right.
I think they did it right. Every review I've seen from it, from normal, real human being people, not critics, has said the same thing we have. It's fantastic. It just rolls with the absurdity of the
Sure.
whole thing, and they do a great job with it.
Yeah. So that is the Ham and Spam movie review. I give it 5 thumbs up. Hammy,
I'll give it. I don't know.
4.5. I just cut my other one
No,
off.
I was thinking of something stupid, but no, I liked it.
No, Dad, it's low fat. No.
But this will be our season finale.
Yeah, we've had a lot of fun this season. It's been good to jump back into the fold. We started right at Christmas, or right after Christmas, because it was the Monday after Christmas on Friday. Is that what it was?
Yeah, it was. You and
So
your prepositional phrases.
I love my prepositional phrases. But yeah, it's been fun. We're gonna take a little bit of a break.
Thank God that was barbecue sauce.
Hammy just licked his shirt, and
Well, I saw it stain. I assumed it was, and it was. Thank God.
I assumed I could. I have made so many Simpsons references in this episode that it's not even funny.
You really have. So
So
we want to give people a definite, maybe one game that is definitely going to be next season. I mean, I'm you know what I'm thinking of.
I have an idea what you're thinking of, but we've kind of already teased that we are going to do the Halloween game a thon. We've got to come up with a name for that before next season.
We will, but you know, thinking of teasing a certain N64 game
Okay.
that may or may not be my favorite of all time.
Yeah.
No,
I don't know how you want to tease it. I'm letting you do the suspenseful thing here.
you know, there's a good possibility that there could be a game about ocarinas reviewed next season.
That is part of the plan. Yes.
Certain person will ever get around to playing it.
That is also part of the plan.
So,
But yeah, we're going to take a little break. Not super long, just enough for us to kind of recharge the batteries and play some games. That way we can review them for you guys. So, thank you everybody for a tremendous season 3. Our numbers have been up. That's the only thing that scares me about doing this, and taking a little bit of a break. But just like with the Finish the Fight guys, we've noticed that this can be a grind sometimes.
yeah, you can get burnt out pretty quickly.
Yeah, and we don't want to do that, because if we start burning out and just forcing stuff through, the content goes down. And then when the content goes down, nobody wants to listen to, monotone Hammy and monotone Clint.
We still haven't discovered Canadian bacon.
No, and this will give him let's see.
Or her.
That person, yes. What is this? April, so we got May, June, July. Oh, we got 4 months off for Canadian bacon to show themselves, or else. So
Else you'll never get your precious maple syrup back.
Dude, this has been a fun episode. I've
Yes.
enjoyed it. I have enjoyed it. So, guys, we've got, I think, 2 more episodes of Talk or Go Home still to go. So you got another month of that to go. And then those, over there, we're going to take a break there as well. So get your podcast stuff in. Drop us a line in the off season, man. Give us a shout out. Just
It's
man,
up on Twitter.
We enjoy talking to people. We enjoy, hearing from you guys. We've gotten some feedback, not as much as we'd like, but hopefully, things will be on the up and up, coming up for season 4, and we'll grow a little bit more.
If you happen to know AJ Styles personally, let him know he's still my favorite.
We're looking at you, Julio Jones. Yeah, I don't know exactly how to end the season, man. This is odd.
On a cliffhanger.
We really should have planned this out.
Yeah, we should have. No cliffhanger. We're kidding. We'll see you guys next season.
Thanks, guys.
Up from the depths, 30 stories high, breathing fire, his head in the sky. Godzilla, and Godzilla.
At that point,